Most people in America know about autism. A lot of people know someone with autism, but few people understand autism without looking through the lens of stereotypes. Ethan Lissy, who has been diagnosed with autism, points out that people often unfairly assign autistic stereotypes to him without getting to know him first. He feels that his individuality is often overlooked because people see him as autistic rather than as Ethan. By learning more about neurodivergent exceptionalities, like autism, we can have a better understanding of individuals and see them as such, rather than putting them in a box and putting a label on it. We can see these people as individuals and get to know them as such. So what is autism? Autism, or ASD, autism spectrum disorder, is a broad range, hence the word spectrum, of behaviors and characteristics that can involve communication, social and behavior exceptionalities, as well as aggressive tendencies. Some common characteristics include trouble communicating like verbally, or trouble communicating emotions in ways that are culturally accepted, heightened sensitivity to stimuli such as loud noises, lights, colors, sounds in general, and large groups of people, and narrow interests or very specific interests and activities that they enjoy. One of the more widely known characteristics of autism is the niche and narrow interests, and these niche and narrow interests typically follow them for many years. This can lead to someone with autism to become an expert in their field. And someone with autism, they may experience a great deal of stress in social situations because they have difficulty understanding and reading social cues. In order for an official diagnosis for autism, there are 3 main criteria that need to be met. One of those is social interaction and communication issues, this is something that will impact them in their life in some way. Another one of those 3 criteria is having narrow and specific interests and activities that they enjoy, like a very narrow range of things that they just really love doing. And then the third thing is repetitive behavior. This can be referred to as stimming. These 3 things will have had to affect a person's life in some capacity currently for there to be a diagnosis, a positive diagnosis. And typically these characteristics and these symptoms will have begun in early childhood. ASD affects 1 in every 31 children and 1 in every 45 adults, with males having more diagnoses than females. Developmental delay and issues processing information and social and relational problems could be caused by levels of GABA and glutamate in the brains of autistic children. So GABA helps regulate the excitability and inhibitory levels in the brain. Therefore, when these levels are out of balance, so is the function of the brain and its ability to process emotion, to display appropriate social behavior. Meaning, the actions of someone with autism can often be seen as being too big, too much, or too little and dismissive and aloof. This imbalance is also where outbursts and potential self-harm can come from. Treatment options for autism include therapy. And when it comes to therapy, some of the more helpful forms that have been proven to help are occupational therapy, which can help those on the more severe end of the spectrum. It can help them develop and sharpen the fine motor skills. Another therapy that is very helpful is naturalistic developmental behavioral interventions. This works within the autistic child's environment. So rather than being at a facility or at an office somewhere, this takes place either in the child's home or the child's school, and can work with parents or guardians to help the child develop their executive function and to give them a greater sense of agency when it comes to their personal management. Another form of therapy that is very helpful is pivotal response training, which helps an autistic child understand their own behavior. It helps them be able to see their behavior and understand a little bit more what's going on. There are medications available that can help reduce these unhelpful behaviors and calm the severity of the reactions and aggressive behaviors such as self-harm. As mentioned earlier, therapy along with an early diagnosis can greatly help someone with autism. So how do we view someone with autism? Well, first of all, we recognize ASD as a spectrum, and we understand that each individual who has autism is not going to look like someone else who has autism. We understand that it is a broad range, and we cannot just assign a one stereotype of autism from one person to the next, because there is so much more to that person, and there's so much that autism includes that we cannot just assign a stereotype. If we could get to know people without assigning them to these boxes and making them fit into categories or labeling them with stereotypes, not only would those with autism feel less marginalized, but everyone would. If we could see individuals for who they are instead of who society says they might be, I think we would be on a much better path.